So this is a wee story, a wee introduction to how I met the fairies the very first time. So a brave while ago, me and my grandfather and the dog went up to the Murphy's house for a wee cup of coffee on a Friday night. Cup of tea and a wee yarn, that's what we always do. It's a Friday night, what else are you going to do? So there's one night we stayed extra long. That means the conversation was much more either heated or much more interesting than usual, whatever it was. So anyway, I looked at my watch. I was like 20 to 12. I was like, come on here. We have to be up at 6 for the next morning. So me and my granda gets up to go. Murphy's sitting in his chair and his wife's pouring 2 more cups of tea. What on earth are you doing pouring 2 more cups of tea? It's 20 to 12. I'm going home. Murphy goes, no you're not. 20 to 12. Takes you longer than 20 minutes to get home. You're not going home. Why not? Sure, they're playing a match tonight. You're not going anywhere. Who? You know who. The other crowd. Me and my granda looks at each other, and the dog looks at us. Tired, want to go home. So I leave the house, and Murphy's wife says, sure, I'll put the kettle back on. You'll be back in 10 minutes. What are you talking about? Sure, we went on anyway. Took a dog with us. So we're traipsing down the road. The moon was out, so why not? We could see our way. We didn't need a torch. And all of a sudden we could hear these footsteps behind us. Couldn't see anything, didn't know what that was. Kept walking. And as you go down the lane to our wee farmhouse, there's a big puddle. Everybody knows the big puddles there. By this time of night it was dried out. It hadn't rained in a full 45 minutes, but it dried out anyway. So he steps into the hard soil and we were stuck. I was like, you know those old war movies where there was sinking sand and people were stuck in the sand? It was like that. I looks to me granda. He was stuck too. We're not going anywhere. And all of a sudden there was this big giant hand went on my shoulder. What the Jesus is that? So I turns round and there's another hand on my granda's shoulder. He turns around too. And there's this big 7'6" boy behind us. And he's going, lads, you're not going any further. Well, for a start, who are you? And 2, why? My granda had already worked out who he was. I hadn't a clue. I just thought he was a big fella who'd quietly come down the lane. I'd never seen this boy before. You're going no further, boys. They're playing a match in there. You're not going anywhere. What match? And all of a sudden, out of the distance of me, right on the limit of your listening abilities, I could hear hurleys being hit. I could hear slitters being hit by hurleys. I could hear shouting. I could hear passing. What on earth is going on here? Why can I suddenly hear a hurling match? He goes, we're playing a match. You may come back when we're done. Leave us be. Go on back the way you came. My granda had a very stern look in his face at that time. Right you are, boy. We'll go back. So your man disappears into the hedge. And I'm still standing there going, what on earth was that? We started heading back to the Murphys again, knocked on the door, and before our hand even hit the door, his wife opened it and I was like, yep, teaser on the sofa, away you go. So I sat down, and my granda was like, I wasn't aware they were playing tonight. Murphy goes, aye, that's one of their matches, one of the new games they wanted to play, so leave them to it. So the conversation went on. I went back to playing with the dog, and we looked at the clock again. It was about 20 past 2. Murphy looks up. They'll be done by now, you can head on home. Aye, right, I'm really tired. So I head back. Complete silence. The moon had disappeared, so we're walking back in pitch darkness. My granda stayed silent the whole time. We'll get back into the house. Aye, that'll do us. We both went up to bed. Nothing more was said of it. Next morning, came down for breakfast. Right, what on earth's going on? What was that? My granda goes, I was the fairies. They were playing a hurling match last night. I'd forgot to change the times. What do you mean they changed the times? Here, hang on. What do you mean? Fairies? What? That big fella behind us, he was a fairy. You want to stay out of his way? He's not the friendliest type. If they're ever playing a match, leave him to it. You stay inside and do nothing. Fair enough, I says. And that was my first experience with fairies in Ireland.